Oh yeah. We expect happiness to be a permanent experience, a continuous and permanent experience. So we expect it to be permanent. Therefore, I'm going to be unhappy with being unhappy. So I'm going to add up. I'm going to add up what often we call a second level of suffering, which is the complexities of psychological suffering. I'm sad, and I'm so sad that I'm sad, and I'm so sad that I'm sad because I'm sad. No? Layers after layers.
Why is it always me that's sad?
Why always me? Yeah. So, the jnani person is not unhappy when the mind modifies and comes some unhappiness, some sadness, or whatever. You know? Why? Because he or she is not identified as the state of the mind. Yes.
It's a very nice expression. One happiness will be there.
Huh?
Say, one happiness will be there. So they dissociate from happiness.
Yeah.
Or sadness.
That is happiness enough, huh?
One happiness will be there.
Yeah. I'm not my unhappiness. And the funny thing is when you disassociate or disidentify with the states of the mind, the modification of the mind becomes more and more sattvic and calm and relaxed and tranquil. This self-knowledge serves like an insulation to the mind. It means to say that the mind does not fluctuate as before as it contacts the field. The field is all the time changing, and pleasures and pains, adversities and favorable circumstances, and so everything is there going like that. And the mind of the samsara is following all of that and experiencing all these different levels of experience, always changing. But the jnani, knowing that he's not the mind, it enjoys a certain insulation against the fluctuation of the mind due to the knowledge that the mind is an object, the feelings are objects, the sensations are objects, the modifications are objects, the states of mind are objects, therefore I have this insulation. So I don't modify with the modifications of the mind. So this knowledge itself helps the mind not to modify. That is the other side of it. Not that the mind is not going to modify, but this knowledge prevents the mind to modify as it's used to modify. Because what makes the mind modify again and again, frequently with intensity and so on, are vasanas based on ignorance of the true nature of reality, the true nature of my own self. Those vasanas makes us to interpret the experience, the project of Ishvara, according to our likes and dislikes, and then we go through all kinds of feelings and sensations, suffering. But once the mind is stable, due to a clear and hard, firm self-knowledge, modifications occur, but the mind is insulated. Okay, that's why sometimes it says so. Moksha is when this knowledge produces a kind of an insulation, or produce a kind of a mental, emotional strength, or insulation, or resistance against the cries or circumstance of life. Because the mind is there, is the first function of the mind by which the field contacts the jiva. The mind is the first one, it enters it, it feels, and then it's going to be all the time feeling. So if consciousness or if the Jivatma is identified with the mind, he's going to be changing, modifying again and again according to the contacts with the object. But if he knows he's not the mind, so he can see the mind modifying, and then he knows I'm not the mind. You know what? The mind stops modifying as before. But the mind got the benefit of the self-knowledge of the jiva. Now it's a well-trained, educated dog, or dog not mind. Verse 12. It's true that the sheets are experienced, and in their absence there is no experience of objects, but consider the witness of nothing. So the koshas are experience. The koshas are different levels of human experience, and we experience them. And they experienced Is it you again, Dave?
No, it's the coming for us. He doesn't realize that class.
Oh, it's a bird with a spiritual vasana. Yeah. It's very hard for us to chase him. Ishwara put him here. He wants to listen to the Vedas. So why don't you invite him in, Dave? Just ask him to stay quiet. It's true that the sheets are experienced, and in their absence there is no experience. So if we don't have the physical body, the mind, the pranas, the intellect, and the vasanas, so we don't have all those mediums by which experience is possible. And then there is no experience of object. But consider the witness of nothing. So Vidyaranya is considering to the doubter here. So forget about the koshas. When there is no means to experience anything, okay, because you have negated the koshas. But consider the witnessing, non-experience principle, factor, which witness blankness, nothing. You can never negate the witnessing, non-experiencing conscious principle. So we covered that already before. Nothing does not mean nothing. It means nothing to be seen, nothing to be known, nothing to be observed. When there is nothing going on, nothing to be known, nothing to be seen, nothing to be heard, nothing to be tasted, what's left? Nothing. Nothing, huh? No, it's left you, the witnessing of everything, the knower, the experience, you know? So there is never such a thing as no thing, emptiness, nothingness, void, because any blankness or nothingness implies the conscious principle apprehends the reality of blankness, of nothingness, of void, and so on. So it's nothing plus me, the witness of nothing, awareness, consciousness, existence, which is not nothing, but it is fullness. You see, even when we step down a little bit and we analyze space, we know that space is really full. It's all over the space. Now it pervades everything in Mithya, but it's not pervading Satya. But when we look from it, wow, space is a big, big thing, you know, all pervasive. So when we see that there is nothing, we cannot say that there is no space. It proves the presence of space. Yeah? Let me go back. I was going to say something else. Fullness, bliss, is present with or without the sheet. So when there is nothing to be objectified and seen and experienced, it proves the presence of this conscious existence, witnessing principle. Experience what? The absence of objects. The same way space without accommodating any object, it's not void or emptiness, you know, it's the fullness of space. Oh, space, I'm full, all pervasive, I'm whole, I'm complete, you know. As far as meat is concerned, in this order of reality, space is the boss. Period, because there's nothing more pervasive than me. I'm all over the place. I'm full. There are no boundaries and borders, you know. In the universe, nothing limits me. Nothing obstructs me. I just penetrates everything, right? So likewise, consciousness existent, witnessing the absence of phenomenal object, is not emptiness or nothingness, is the fullness, purna, of consciousness, light, existence. It's the fullness of consciousness, it's not the nothingness or emptiness. For the people who like to believe that there is such thing as non-existence, nothingness as the ultimate reality, we have only a simple question. It's like I say, who knows that there is something like nothingness, emptiness, and void? There must be a conscious principle, you know? So, blankness of phenomena does not exclude the witnessing knower of the phenomenon. It's always there as the background, as the screen on which all these concepts can be constructed. The self experiences itself by itself without the aid of the conscious. Ultimately, the self is self-knowing, self-luminous, self-experience itself in the absence of objects to be revealed by our sunlight. So, what is the light doing? What the life is experiencing? It's experience its own luminosity, its own light. It happens that there is no object in my way so that I can reveal. So I'm revealing myself in my fullness, my effulgent life, light that reveals what comes in my way. You know, otherwise I just reveal myself. To whom there is nothing to reflect, and there is no inert or sentient object. So I'm revealing myself to whom? To myself. But you are not an experienced entity. Of course not. I'm self-revealing, self-evident. I'm the principle that makes jivas experience my light. I have self-knowledge. I have my own light. I'm self-luminous, and I'm all the times experience my light. That's the idea. This is a very nice part because I like to use these pointers, these metaphors. The verse 13 onward, the self is present in the form of the illuminator, which cannot be objectified. So you are not You are not the objects that you illuminate. You are the light. Yeah? Here present as the illuminator. The light is what reveals what is known, what is not known. It reveals knowledge, reveals ignorance. And once knowledge is seen for as it is, knowledge, and ignorance is seen for what it is, ignorance. And then knowledge neutralizes ignorance, and then I'm free as light, in my simple glory as light of consciousness. So it's present as the light, the illuminator, which cannot be objectified, because that is, the illuminator is what reveals objects that can be objectified with the aids of my jiva, my jiva's jiva. This light, this illuminator, is always experienced, so it does not require a special effort to experience it. This illuminator, this light, is always ever experienced as the illuminator and does not require any effort to experience itself. So this is very, very significant. Significant. And I had a conversation with Anatosh today, and he was telling me, when we were coming up here, Anatosh, is it open or closed?
Yeah.
Open?
It's open now, yeah.
Okay. So I had a conversation. Yeah, because now he said he has a switch. A switch.
Switch on.
Yeah, he does like that and then opens, and then he can hear everything.
It's automatic.
And then he does like that, and then he is in total bliss because he does not hear anything.
The bliss of ignorance.
So I was coming up with my friend, and he was telling me that to him Vedanta is very simple, because he walks a lot and he enjoys nature and he goes around, and he's all the time experience his own light of awareness. He's aware of his awareness in his words. All the time I'm seeing my awareness. I'm aware of awareness. Why? Because consciousness is self-conscious, self-luminous, is always there, and it's very easy to be experienced. Very simple to be experienced, you know? The illuminator, it can be experienced not as an object revealed by the illuminator, but as the illuminator, the light. And we experience this light 24/7, even when we sleep. It's all the time. How can we not understand it and just shop the head of Maya, you know, and say, hey, don't bring this avidya into association with me. I got it now, you know, I am the light. I experience my light all the time. And it's there. Beyond the mind, living, vivifying the mind and turning the mind into an equipment of experience, a medium of experience. And then in the field of experience, everything is changing from one moment to another, including the reflecting medium. But the reflecting medium, or the jiva here, is always aware of the original awareness. He's aware of his awareness.